Good evening and welcome back to 31 Horror Nights. It's October 5th and tonight's classic is Eyes Without a Face. Eyes Without a Face is a 1960 French horror film directed by Georges Franju. And I'm including it on this list because it has proven to be rather influential to other filmmakers since its release. I watched it today and I didn't really think it was great. I'm giving it a 5 out of 10. More than anything else, I just kind of thought it was boring. The plot to Eyes Without a Face is that there's this plastic surgeon, kind of like a mad scientist, genius doctor, whose daughter gets in an accident and the accident completely destroys her face. His plan is to cut off another girl's face and surgically attach it to his daughter so that she can be beautiful again. The most iconic thing about Eyes Without a Face is the mask that the daughter, named Christiane, wears when she doesn't have a face attached. It is basically a white mask that's completely expressionless. And the weirdest thing about this is that from a distance, you can't even tell that it's a mask. It's like, there's something a little bit off, but when you get close, you can see like the contrast it is to a normal face. It's very creepy and very off-putting in appearance. It's not scary as much as it is rested perfectly in the uncanny valley, especially considering that this is a black and white movie. That's a pretty good way to describe the rest of the movie, too. It's not outright scary as much as it is just kind of creepy and eerie. Other people have called this movie poetic, but for me, a lot of it just sort of came off as kind of boring and meandering. From Christiane's standpoint, the worst thing about this is that in order to sort of divert suspicion away from the daughter, they ended up faking the daughter's death. So they took a body that was already dead and they made it look like that was hers. So I think they imply that they killed one of their neighbor's kids and pretended that that was their daughter's body. So for now, the daughter is dead, is like completely off the record, and they can just kill people and put on faces, and there's a lot less suspicion involved. But that, of course, means that Christiane is completely cut off from the rest of the world. She had a fiance before this all started, and she can't even call him because she thinks that she's dead. This isolation, coupled with the repeated failed experiments, sort of picks away at Christiane's sanity. And by the end of it, she's suicidal, realizing that she's nothing more than another guinea pig to her father. There are a lot of good ideas in Eyes Without a Face, but in the final result, I just thought it was executed in kind of a boring way. This is a movie, once again, just like Mulholland Drive, that I think other people would have a lot better reaction to, and like you would have varying reactions depending on who you are. But for me, I kind of just thought it was boring. Alright, that's the overview, and now let's start with some spoilers. The operations keep failing because Christiane's body rejects the new facial tissue and like kills it and like starts rotting off her face. So that's why it doesn't keep working, and that's why they keep looking for people that have blonde hair and blue eyes just the way that she did, so that hopefully the similar genetics would mean that the body wouldn't reject them. And the police start noticing that blonde hair, blue eyed girls keep disappearing, and they all look very similar too. So what they do is that they set up, like, they had a girl who was, like, in for shoplifting, and they said, you're off the hook if you help us out with something. So she bleaches her hair, she goes to the clinic where the doctor works at, because at that point they've gotten suspicion that it's him, but they don't have any proof of it. And sure enough, the girl gets captured by the doctor and his assistant, a secretary, who he had done a successful face operation in the past, even though it wasn't like cutting off a face and putting it on hers, it's like completely fixing it. He is getting ready to perform the face removal surgery on the captured girl when he's led away from it. The police come to question him about it and he has to leave. And the daughter is in the room at the time, and she gets up and she raises the scalpel to the girl, and you think that she's gonna like try to do the thing herself or kill her, but what she does is that she lets her go. So the captured girl runs off, and Christiane kind of walks around, and it was a plot point throughout the entire movie that, aside from humans, the doctor experimented a lot on dogs and birds. You hear the dogs barking a lot throughout the entire movie. And she lets all the dogs and birds loose, and when the dad, the psycho doctor, comes back, all the dogs attack him and end up killing him. And the final part of the movie is Christiane sort of like walking out with like the birds and the dogs, and she just leaves, and you have no idea what happens to her after that. You don't know if she like goes on and kills herself or tries to integrate in society or keeps the mask or what. What I was expecting going into this is that throughout the entire movie, you just see Christiane in a mask, and at the very end, the big final scare is the reveal of what she looks like when her mask is taken off. But actually, you don't see clearly what she looks like with her mask off. At one point, one of the victims opens her eyes, and you see a blurry image of what she looks like without the mask on, and it does look pretty gruesome, but you don't see it that well. I feel like this movie would have been a little bit better if they actually did have that full-on reveal. Even if the effects didn't hold up, you could still get the idea across very well. In conclusion, Eyes Without a Face is kind of a weird one to me. There are good ideas in it, but I'm not a fan of the execution. I didn't hate it, but I didn't really like it either. Alright, I'll see you tomorrow.